It's the Exit 52 podcast, instant analysis presented by Jimmy Seafood. And I can't imagine the listeners and the viewers expected these two faces to be on their screens to start the instant analysis. It's Taylor and RDT. Eric, I'm from an undisclosed location in Chicago. You are from an undisclosed location in Maryland. You have your Titans Derrick Henry jersey on. I haven't been on this podcast in about 3 months as I've made a move from Maryland. People are saying, "Who are you?" People in the chat. I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Allow us to reintroduce
They're looking
ourselves.
for Spenny. They're looking for Jake. They're looking for Banks. Banks will be on shortly. He's walking through back to his house. He should be on in a couple of minutes, but we decided to get it started here. Great to be back. Great to be back on the show. Great to have you back on the show. I mean, people have no idea who we are. They're like, people have taken. We're talking about the Orioles. You want to talk about Orioles? You want to talk about Orioles free agency here for a
Yeah, we're talking failed physicals at midnight on a Sunday.
28 to 14 Ravens win over the Steelers. Spenny and Jake probably hammered that at home. Not totally wrong. Not totally wrong, boyo. Not totally wrong in your analysis.
Trying to convince Brian to skip the podcast and come with them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I see, but Brian is charging home to figure this out. So I also missed this video. I was waiting for this video. He was clearly hammered at halftime. He went live. I always wonder what the people in his section are thinking when that's going on. We did not get a ramp video. So hopefully we get Banks. Hopefully we get the version of Banks that's on the ramp when he's back. But 28-14, Ravens comprehensively dominate the Steelers over the course of all 60 minutes. A dominant 21-0 lead in the first half, which I honestly don't think could have gone any better from a Ravens perspective. I know as the lone Ravens fan in the bar I was at here in Chicago, I was certainly feeling myself as I at one point called out the Bears fans saying this was a real football team. And I was then, okay, let me calm myself down. RDT, you're a neutral here. We don't normally have you talk about the Ravens. What are your overall thoughts on just the performance? Obviously, you're in the jersey of the man that just continues to impress the King, Derrick Henry. Just your thoughts on this one. I
mean, you said it. It was pretty damn dominating. I mean, the first half, it didn't seem like the Steelers wanted to be out there at all. They just, and even like Herbstreit calling him out, being like, "Oh, there's no effort." Like these guys, I don't know if you could hear that, Taylor, but Herbstreit was like, "These guys are quitting. Like, these guys don't want to be here." Like it was weird. It was like a personal thing. But no, I mean that was about as dominating of a playoff game, like from from the Ravens that you've seen in some time. And for it to come against the Steelers, like it could not have gone any better for you guys. It couldn't feel any better. Again, the Derrick Henry thing is just, I mean, him and Lamar just right away. We're like, no, we got it. Like we're going to go from here. And then, they're just marching down the field. The drive, the 13 play, 13 runs, like Derrick Henry finisher is just, I don't know. That's what you can do when you have probably two of the hardest people to tackle in NFL history in Lamar and Derrick. They've got to be up there. But yeah, Derrick Henry just does this in the playoffs. Nobody wants to tackle him when it's 22 degrees and freezing and you're getting your ass kicked. Like that's I don't know again if you could hear, but they were talking about a cornerback. I think it was 26 on that play where was it Wallace got the first down and like 26 like didn't engage really. He could just kind of put his hands on the pile and move back. And even though that wasn't Derrick Henry, that's the Derrick Henry effect where like it's a third quarter and you're like, motherfucker, I can't stick my head in there again. I've been doing this all game and like, I just can't keep doing this. And that's what he does. He just wears people down and then, he breaks off a 45-yarder. And it's like, that's just that's what makes him the best. And he's done that forever. And, he's just a monster when it comes to the playoffs. So you guys,
he felt totally inevitable in that entire game and just in terms of the impact he was going to have. And as you said, I mean, look, I'm sure, Spenny and Jake have done the job of analyzing this in Banks over the last few months. You and I haven't been on to talk a lot of Ravens, but what decision do you make? You either crash on Henry in the middle in some of these RPO or some of these options, or Lamar goes around the outside and does what he does. It's just hard to stop. They're going to stay ahead of the sticks. I mean, let me just sum it up with B. Let me sum it up with YouTube user B here. Let me just belt to ass.
Yeah, that was.
It certainly sums up the first half. Look, credit to Russell Wilson, threw a couple dots in the second half, got him, slightly back in the game. I'm sure there were murmurs at the bank when the Ravens punted up 28-14, but defense gets a couple stops and gets it done. That 13 run drive was, I think, therapeutic, I'm sure, for a lot of Ravens fans, including myself, where, that is the, obviously if we threw it up and down the field and scored 45, that would feel amazing against a team like the Steelers. But to just physically dominate them up front in that way, where they knew exactly what we were going to do the entire drive, and you just executed it anyway, is just, that's just the best feeling you could have against your rival. And the Steelers are clearly a limited team at this point, and there's a reason this was a 9.5-point spread, and most of the experts picked the Ravens to win. I can't imagine there were many that picked the Steelers, including obviously on this podcast, picked the Ravens. And you've seen this coming from the Steelers. They just can't score. And once the Ravens were up 21-0, it would have taken a freak turnover, even when it got sort of squirrely, when it felt like the Steelers, were picking up a tick of momentum. Henry rips off the run where, Patrick Queen is getting rolled on Twitter for making a business decision, and they get to 28, and it never felt like the Steelers could get to 28, even maybe get to 24. So just a really, really, satisfying is the word I kept thinking of as I was watching the Ravens. Like, yeah, have we beaten teams by more? Sure. Have we won games more dominantly? Sure. But the way that was done is just exactly what you want against a team like the Steelers, where it is, throughout this rivalry been a, rough, a tough, types of games. And that was the Ravens saying, like, we are just going to dominate you at the point of attack on both sides of the ball. And really what it took for the Steelers to get back in the game was actually kind of throwing it around, going away what they had been doing, where, the Russ dink and dunk and trying to establish some running game. They went to kind of throwing it down the field. And, I think a lot of Ravens fans are going to be saying this, things like this, for, going into, a game probably against the Bills, unless something crazy happens tomorrow. I'm sure the secondary will be roundly talked about. But Russell Wilson also made 3 fantastic throws. I mean, those had to be perfect throws to get it done. So, except for the one over the top on Stevens, which was still a good throw. So, fantastic performance. Did it in all 3 phases. It was so funny, on that first punt return, the ball, goes off Sims's face mask and he almost fumbles. And you're like, well, that's the thing you have to avoid in this game. This hit the fire alarm, turnover type of thing. And after that, they were perfectly composed. Couple penalties, but for the most part made no mistakes. And mistakes is what it was going to take for the Steelers to win this game.
I was going to say, I think they had a penalty on that first drive, and I was like, that coupled with the muff punt and the missed face mask on Sims, that was a crazy. I mean, to not get that called on the first play.
Definitely. I mean, the clear face mask.
The refs have had such a problem calling that in all games this year. It's been awful. But I remember, so I think it was a penalty on that first drive. I don't know what play, and I remember being like, this is where Ravens fans are going to start to be like, already they're going to be like, here we go. This is it. This is the, the tip ball in 19. Like, this is what happens. But, when you talked about that, like, dominating drive, the 13 play, that's what Ryan Day and Ohio State wanted to do to Michigan. Like, we're going to be men and we're going to run it down your throats. And that's exactly what, like, Harbaugh and the Ravens were able to do tonight. And everyone's talking about the O-line. What's the guy's name? Rosengarten, the guy who is now like America's. He's like your offensive lineman, your favorite offensive lineman's favorite offensive lineman now, because he's all over. TJ Watt may have been hurt or not. Doesn't matter. Like, he held him in check all game. You didn't hear his name. They talked about him doing the crashing down on Henry, and when Lamar was taking it around the right side corner every time, they talked about that being like, they're telling TJ just not even to like look at Lamar. But I mean, what a job he's done the last 2 weeks going against Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. Damn good job there. So he's making himself kind of a household name in the last week. But yeah, it was the game was, again, it seemed like it was over at halftime, belt to ass. Everyone was talking about it. The Steelers, I was right there with you when they went up 21. I was like, Lamar and Henry have to get hit by a bus going into the locker room for the Steelers to like have a legitimate chance. There's just no chance they were ever going to score that many points. And like you said, that the throw over the top, the Pickens catch was a great throw, great catch by Pickens. I'm shocked he didn't. He must have been on some kind of medication. I'm shocked he didn't like lose his lid when they were down 21. My dad texted me and he goes,
like Tomlin calmed down the crazy star receivers or treatment, whatever he did this week.
Something he can do something, man. I don't know. But yeah, that was, they couldn't run the ball at all because, they got down big and Najee, they're not that type of team anyway. And Najee's not really that running back, but they just, at no point was it like, oh shit, here, the tide is now turning and we're getting the, here comes the comeback. It's just, their offense is so limited. Russ is just such a weird player. And I don't know. That team is, they have a ton of free agents too. I don't know. Yeah. I saw a list. It's Fields, it's Russell, it's I think maybe not Hayward.
They're old in a bunch of spots too.
Yeah, they're old. The Ravens may have just pushed the Steelers over into a rebuild. Just absolutely, said, hey, good luck from here on out. The next few years for you guys are going to be really, really tough. And I don't know. I don't know what they do with Tomlin. I don't think they fire him.
I don't think you can. To be honest, he did a pretty good job with his team. They're not.
But that's been the story the last.
That's the story. Years. Like it's definitely a good defense. It's a fine offense. I think if they just went all the way with Warren and didn't give Najee Harris the ball that much, they'd probably be in a better spot. Harris is just not a guy that scares you. Russ is a 36-year-old and he kind of does what he does. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he had kind of examples of the old Russ tonight. Some of those throws were like classic Russell Wilson down the field throws. Mm-hmm. Is why he was scary for essentially a decade.
Yeah, he didn't play bad at all. I didn't like the sack that sack that he took at that third nade or whatever. And it's like, oh, kind of the game is on the line, and then Matabike just swallowed him up. That was really the only play where it's like, I don't know, but I don't know what to tell you when you got Matabike, breathing down on you and then sacking you. But I don't think he played bad at all. It was just the Ravens just played that much better. They just could not miss in that first half.
That's why it's perfect first half. Perfect. We'll go on here for as long as we do. The Ravens are just way better. They're just a way better team right now than the Steelers, and they did exactly what they should do in a home game. It's like sometimes you can piece together everything, and I'm sure Spenny will go through the film and find a bunch of awesome stuff to give everybody. But this is ultimately just a game where the better team won and did it pretty comprehensively. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Ravens fans won't be seeking these out, but I'm sure there's a lot of Steelers podcasts tonight that are like, where do we go from here? Which I think as a Ravens fan, that feels pretty good because they're in a spot where they have to make a decision about what they want to do moving forward. They need a franchise quarterback they don't currently have on the roster. They could have tried to go all in on the Fields experiment. They didn't do it. They went with Russ to try to get to the playoffs, and this is about what the ceiling was with Russ. And they got there. So, congrats to them. And Tomlin has another playoff berth on the resume, and you kind of move forward. From a Ravens standpoint, the formula is clearly there, and I think it's been there for a month and a half. It's, establishing, what you're doing in the running game with Henry. You hope Zay's back next week, and that, they did enough in the passing game tonight. Lamar continues to be, in total control of what he's doing. Nothing looks sped up. Everything looks slow. It's like, we have you on our resident baseball guy. It's like they talk about when you see a hitter that just is so clearly in control of everything going on with like the strike zone and the game is so slow for them. Like that is Lamar. Like it just looks so not fast in any way. He just scans the field. He hops around. It's just wonderful to watch. And it's everything that you would have hoped he would become at this point. And I was chatting with our friend Mr. Sean Elby at the bar tonight here in Chicago, and I was just like, you got to give the Ravens like a lot of credit for getting Lamar to this point. Like I'm sure it's been talked about on the pod throughout the year. I haven't been on it. Just like to get this guy to this point where it just looks so easy as in the passing game, where the running game is just almost a bonus. And now he's clearly willing to and I think we've made the point throughout the year. The point has been made, like not going to run in some of these games as much. Protect the body. Like he's clearly thrown that away. Like he's gonna tuck the ball and he's gonna run when he has those openings. Just becomes such a tough offense to stop. And the defense did what they had to do tonight. They were great in the first half. And to be honest with you, it's almost when the Steelers had to go away from the predictability of what they were trying to do, is what kind of put the Ravens into a little bit of a squirrely mode there for about a, quarter and a half, where the Steelers kind of moved the ball. But early, when they were predictable and trying to do the Russ 5 yards, the run for 2 yards, like, let's get another first down on the third down. Here's another 5 yard. Like, the Ravens just, Zach Gore let the guys eat, and they just owned that version of the Steelers offense. So, and like you said, you talked about Rosengart, the offensive line for the Ravens was fantastic all night. Moved a Steelers defense that's very talented, totally neutralized TJ Watt. And I think in a game like that neutralizes what the Steelers can do on the outside with the pass rush. You can't pin your ears back and go get Lamar if, you have Derrick Henry back there. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's one of the best offenses in NFL history.
They got to him early, and they hit him hard kind of early too. I think Watt may have been involved in the sack, or even, I can't remember, but yeah, I don't know. They kind of just got it under control and shut it down. And you were talking about Lamar and how everything looks so slow and just calculated, and he's not rushing and he's not panicking. That's the thing. He doesn't look panicky. Yesterday, it's Saturday, it was the 5-year anniversary of the Ravens-Titans game in that playoff game. So I was watching the highlights and all that. He looks like such a completely just different player, because even on their fourth down sneaks in 2019, 2020, when he's sneaking it, he was dipping behind the line and trying one hole and bouncing to the other. And here, it's he knows what he's going to, it's like he's playing chess. He just knows what he's doing 2 steps before he even does it. He's almost like an outdoor cat, and you catch an outdoor cat, and at first, it's just wild and it's off the wall. It's like you said, they've worked with him, and you can tell because his footwork is so much better. And like you said, his vision and his just when to take off, everything fundamentally is so much better now than it was in the past couple of years. And it's just, obviously we pretty much watch him every week. But for it to be on display tonight, I thought that was awesome. And he's been doing it all year. He's been doing it all pretty much last year too, where he just doesn't look rushed and panicked and oh shit, what am I going to do with it now? He, obviously, I mean, the last year to end the AFC Championship game, I think he threw into triple coverage, but he didn't have one or, any plays like that this year, even in their losses. The losses, I mean, the Browns game, he hits Bateman right in his face mask. Stuff like that. It's, I don't know. This year he's just, and I almost want to mute these words: zoned in, dialed in, locked in. That's the new, everyone is saying it now. The Ravens tweeted it out when he walked in, but he is just in such a zone. And like you said, it's a basketball player, and the hoop is a mile wide, and a golfer. He's Tiger, when the cup looks like it's a foot wide. It's just, he can't, he can't do anything wrong right now. He's playing just unreal football right now. And again, going against, the playoff game tonight, regardless it was the Steelers, but he's doing it against everyone. He's just been awesome this year, and he's just really, really changed, it seems like. So playing best football I think we've ever seen him play.
Steelers are a very good defense. Have been pretty good the entire year. 464 yards total offense for the Ravens.
Was it 304 in the first half?
304 in the first half.
Yeah.
So it's whatever small issues you had, some stuff here from Charlie about, the Steelers collapse in the pocket. Look, you're going to have those moments. I think it gets negated by the fact of what they did in the running game. It's just, they just totally dominated the line of scrimmage on that side of the ball. And, certainly not wrong. Lamar is gonna make more out of some plays where the rush is on and he can get out there and escape. And that's the price you pay for that type of player in Lamar, that they can do that. And look, the Ravens are going to have to be, probably are not going to be able to dominate in the running game like they did in this game moving forward. You just, competition gets tougher, but that's a good Steelers defensive line, and they did a pretty great job against them the entire night. We have to welcome in, and what a reunion this is for the original 3 members of the X52 podcast here in an instant analysis. First time the 3 of us have been on the pod together in a bit. Banks back from M&T Bank Stadium. You went live at the half. You yelled at Steelers fans walking down, out of the stands. I have to assume your ramp walk was filled with joy. Your walk back to your place in an undisclosed South Baltimore location. Must have also been joyous. Just give us your thoughts on the night.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to make sure that you hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Yes, brilliant. The video in which some Steelers fans were walking out, that was not necessarily intentional to call them out. You know, if they wanted to leave, you know, that was their choice. You know, there's a lot of football game left. I would never have recommended to anyone, let alone Steelers fans, at any given point to just leave a football game early in the second quarter. But you know, if the optics of them were to be leaving the football game and represent the entire Pittsburgh fan base, you know, I can't help that. I can't help if it's how that looked. It is what it is. Sure. It was an ass kicking, for sure. The entire first half. I think I was looking up a little bit bewildered at the corners of the stadium where you see the total team statistics. It was pushing 300 yards for the Ravens versus maybe 60, 70 yards for the half between two teams. And, you know, if my video that I took, can't really say that I you know, can say like every second of it that I, you know, can call, you know, it is what it is. You know, we were kicking their taints in. We were kicking their taints in, and I take nothing back from it. It's an absolute ass kicking. It is what it is. And they kind of showed up in the second half. You know, a couple fluky plays, couple big touchdown plays, but you know, there was a certain point too when the red zone statistics showed 3 for 3. The Ravens were 3 for 3 for punching in for touchdowns, and the Steelers they were 0 for 0 just for the sense of they never got into the red zone. I don't know. It says to me that they just had a couple fluky touchdowns, and you know, what am I supposed to say about that? They're fucking clowns. They're gone. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you.
I mean, that was essentially, I think, what we would have gotten from you on the ramp, and we got it live on here.
Yeah, no, it is the ramp talk. It's the ramp talk. I cannot get my Bluetooth or anything dialed in on the thing. You know, we're just gonna let it rip. So it's fine.
My favorite part of when you come on this like this is just the comments. Just
let the comments rip. Let's go. Let's go.
How did you feel during the 13-run drive, Banks? What did that do for your mental state of mind as they ran it down the Steelers' throats?
The 13
play, 13 run.
13 play, 13 run.
Henry's first touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so excited about this, aren't you, Eric? You're just
he's got the jersey.
Shove town population. Yeah, no, I know Derrick Henry's a major part of it, but if we're just gonna talk like a little bit more globally about what the Ravens did in the first two quarters, and it all plays into it, like fearless. This is exactly what you want to see on tape. If you're a Ravens offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, like you're just doing exactly what it takes to win a game, and just like letting Lamar run rampant. And I think he pulled the ball way more than he didn't, but at the same time, like he handed it off exactly when he should to the big boy. And Derrick Henry ran rampant. Like this was such a game in which if you're a defensive coordinator, like thinking about what you're gonna do against the Ravens, like you're just shaking your boots, man. Like it's a tough one. It's such a tough one. I appreciate you wearing your 22 jersey. Because I know the statistics look really good for him, and he earned every yard that he got. Like he is totally a guy, and a big time postseason performer, and the statistics will reflect that.
I want to know how many yards he had in the second half. Second half, it was 7 yards, 8 yards. Not every time maybe he was touching the ball, it was 7 yards, and it was like this is the closer effect. But I don't know how many yards he had in the second half, but that was the vintage, second half Derrick Henry performance where he just leans on you, breaks it off, for 44.
It was a little bit weird because I don't know, like we didn't need that necessarily at the time, but that's what he's paying for. And you just go downhill. You push. You just kind of do it. And that the entire first 3 touchdown drives was exactly that. 2 of the 3 touchdown drives for the Ravens. I'm not sure if you touched on this, Taylor. I'm sure you may have. I don't know. I'm sorry that I missed the first handful of the show, but 2 of the first 3 touchdown drives were over 90 yards. Like it was just, those were some of the most impressive touchdown drives. Not that anyone was impressed, like over the moon about it in the stadium at the time, because we've become really accustomed to those kind of touchdown drives. But Jesus Christ, man, what a balance of offense and just bully ball.
It was bully ball. It was the definition of bully ball.
It was bully ball.
Was the Banks? Obviously, me and Eric were not at this football game. Was there any tension in the second half when the Steelers scored a couple of TDs? Did you feel any murmurs? Take us inside the bank.
Like not necessarily. There really weren't. Like the touchdown to Pickens to make it 28-14 was one that was like, it was like, it's kind of weird. Like it seemed kind of fluky because like the drop back and by Russell Wilson was one that was, you're going to throw this into trouble. And then he undercut, like Pickens kind of undercut the throw. And I don't know, nobody was really taking seriously the fact that they were going to go down the field and do blah, blah, blah. So that touchdown was kind of one where it was like, can we not just be done here? Everybody knows that the one team is just so significantly better than the other, and they've been shoving it down their throats the entire day. Like, just, you've done a good job, seriously, of just laying down for most of the 45 minutes. Like, just continue to lay down. So, I don't know.
There it is.
Yeah.
As we look forward to next week, I would think the Bills get it done tomorrow and take out the Broncos.
I'm not so sure.
Bo Nix.
Ooh.
This is probably about. What are you thinking, Eric? You got?
I'm not so sure.
Brian said he's not so sure.
You're not so sure? Okay. What do you got?
Sure.
Tell me you did not crack open a beer. What did you just open? All right, go ahead. What's your Bills-Broncos thought?
Bills-Broncos. Bills clearly better than the Broncos. Hey, I'm just saying, let's not be so confident that the Broncos are not going to be totally like dismantled by a Bills team that has not played hardly anybody all year.
I mean, the Broncos have also beaten nobody the whole year.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm totally content with the idea of those two things. Like, I expect the Bills to win. Totally.
Yeah.
I expect the Bills to win.
I would think, yeah.
But, I mean, truly, what have the Bills done to give anybody expectations that they're going to win by 2 touchdowns and make this a coastal victory? Like, come on.
What's the line in that game?
That's what
Is
I
it
was
8.5?
It's more than a touchdown. It's more than a touchdown. It's like 8.5.
It's Bills by 8.5. You got it. Nailed it. Well done. Well done, Brian.
I could see the Broncos putting up a fight. I mean, they just went. I mean, I know their defense is awful, but they were nose to nose with the Bengals a couple weeks ago. Bo Nix is good.
All I'm saying is what like the Bills are a very good team, but what have they done to earn the idea that they are very capable of like beating other playoff teams by multiple touchdowns?
Mm-hmm. Like going on a significant run.
They went on the road and beat Detroit in Detroit. So, that is obviously the win you hang your hat on. That was a high scoring shootout. It's a high scoring shootout. So, I think
had that with the Rams too.
The question mark there. They went and played a similar game with the Rams, a shootout.
They beat the Chiefs,
and they beat the Chiefs. So, they certainly have some. They beat.
I'll share my thoughts about the Chiefs when the time is right.
Yeah, they beat the 2 number 1 seeds in the AFC and NFC. So, there's certainly some pelts on the wall there from their season. But the defense, I think some consider suspect. So we'll see. It's just hard to believe, Bo Nix is going to walk into Buffalo and put 4 quarters good enough to beat them. I like this is what Buffalo does. They really don't lose this game at home. They just have not. They play in this locker game at home a lot.
Well,
they don't lose the game. And if they play the Ravens, if it's Ravens Bills, that is a heavyweight fight in the 2-3 game. I mean, that's a fantastic.
No question. And I am planning to go to Buffalo for that game. But I want to pump the brakes on the entire notion that you just said. Buster's going crazy trying to stick my hand here. I am trying to pump the brakes on what you just said. What is Buffalo earned in the sense of, they're just gonna take care of business? Like,
yeah. I mean, I guess it just depends on if you think they're gonna cover or they're gonna win. I think they're going to win. Maybe
I think the spread is a crazy spread. I expect them to win.
So the bank's money is on Broncos +8.5.
Oh my God, the Broncos!
That's where the Ben Kessler money is.
The Broncos are not a team necessarily that have earned the right to like have any expectation of winning, but like they've just played a lot of tough games. Like they've hung in tough, and they're just a lot of dogs, and they've got a Super Bowl winning coach, and I try not to put too much stock into that whole notion, but like, no, it's not about the trickery. It's just like they're just gonna be better coached, and I just have not watched many Bills coach games. Like, who walks away from any Bills coach game and be like Sean McDermott? Like, that guy's on top of it. Like, nobody does that. Like, they're loose and free. Like, they can lose any given game. And I'm not saying they're going to lose to the Broncos, but I think there's a little bit too much comfort of, oh, yeah, we're Josh Allen. We're just going to go to division round and we're going to expect to win. Like, a little too much.
I know. I see what he's saying. I get it. They haven't won any big games yet. They haven't, especially in the playoffs. Like, why do we think that they're just going to beat every team by 15 and go on this death march to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Who they beat this season?
They beat the Lions and the Chiefs.
They beat the Lions and the Chiefs when they were beat the fuck. And the Chiefs are a goddamn joke. If we can just accept the fact that the Chiefs are not that good of a fucking team this year. I know, 14. They're a bunch of jerk-offs. I'm ready to beat the shit out of them. I'm fucking ready. I just want the opportunity. Give me the opportunity. Give me the goddamn opportunity to beat the Chiefs. Please.
Oh my God! They might. I mean
that though. I
know.
Mean it. Give me the opportunity to beat the Chiefs, and we'll fucking do it. But like, we just got to get there.
I think we can absolutely get there. The Chiefs are not at their normal. Are not at their normal level. They've got some black magic going on. and how they
just like
games.
Yeah, it's
and so look, I mean, I want a shot at him too. I think we all want a shot at him. There's no doubt.
No, let's see if we can get him, dude.
Yeah.
Who have they beat?
Please.
Who is that at this point? Who is anybody beating? Who is anybody beating?
But God damn it! Like I'm telling you, go, go.
Oh my goodness. There you have it. Ugh, we want the Chiefs. Is the line of the night as Lil B makes his appearance on the pod there.
There were people who were like legitimately thinking that they were gonna get like a statistical breakdown tonight.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone at home is like, motherfucker. There's someone in bed.
They're ready for Spenny to break down the formations, and then me and Eric appeared, and then
there's someone laying in their bed with headphones in right now, being like, "What the fuck are these idiots yelling about? Like, talk to me about 13 formation, and let me get to bed." Like,
yeah, like what did the Ravens do to confuse the Steelers defensive line?
I can't even get Michael Pierce's splits right now. Like, are you kidding me? This is insane. Like, what is going on here?
The thing is this is kind of the perfect moment for this because
there's
not a lot of tape that needs to be broken down here.
No.
Yeah. Is there a way for the chat here to call people like in the same way that
like tagging them in the chat?
Like the boys are popping. Crossbar. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about where they are?
I was gonna text them and be like, "You guys should hop on right now." Like, if they hopped on from the bar.
Is that where they are? Is that where we're just doxing?
I'm gonna start with Cole because he's not really part of the podcast per se. But
you're making calls.
Yeah, let's
call. We're gonna call some people here on the.
No, I'm calling the group chat that I'm in with Cole, Spenny, and Jake, and just see what the fuck happens.
Let's see what they. So that
the call got ended very quickly. I don't know who could have ended it other than me. Like, I exist.
Banks is trying to call Jake, Spenny, and Cole here. Their group chat together. What group chat that must be? We'll see what we get here. This is a grid radio right
grid going here.
We got some people. There we go. All right.
I'm just saying it's a grid.
People listening later, Banks has shown us his phone to show that he's in the FaceTime trying to get them online here. This started with me waiting for people to come, and then Eric said, "I'll jump on." Here we are.
This could happen with anyone in some sort of just domestic dispute, or you never know.
Sure. I don't know where you're going with that, but yeah.
No, I'm just speaking in terms of, folks go out and, no one seems to want to pick up.
No one's answering?
Yeah, I'm perfectly content wrapping this thing up.
Do we want to do a starting five and make it an old school one?
Make it that would.
Why not, dude? We're here.
We would do another hour.
Brian, you want to give us your Nick Kaner medley, Maryland Man of the Week?
How about starting five of the Bills' best
wins this year? Guys, I wish we would. I'm kind of thinking about it. Like, why not?
We can sign out on that. You want to give a Nick Kaner medley Maryland Person of the Week here, Banks? You got somebody?
Jimmy Carter, rip.
Jimmy Carter.
I know he died a couple weeks ago, but his spirit's still with us.
I mean, the videos from the funeral.
Jimmy Carter was on my list of people, like, just in general, like,
got to 100.
Like,
George Bush and his program are my Nick Kaner medley person.
I was going to say George Bush and the slap to just the stomach tap to Barack was pretty tremendous.
He hit, I forget who it was behind him with the program at one point. They had like an
Dan
angle.
Quayle.
Dan Quayle and smacks him on the head with it. Like,
and then Donnie and Barack going back and forth. Combo looking back.
A lot of lip reading on TikTok. A lot of lip reading.
I mean, a lot of lip reading every platform. I mean,
like big picture, I cracked open a Modelo and I got like I'm 2 sips in and I got this whole other high noon. So we might as well drink them. Why not hang out while I drink them?
You were the one that wanted to wrap it up 2 minutes ago. Now you want to keep going.
I know. I'm a man of many.
Well, you got a trip up to Philly, right?
No, that's months away, dude. You should know that.
I thought for the game. I thought for the big game. That's tomorrow at 4.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I'm still waiting to see. Yeah, no. She's over at Mate Beer, and she's probably going to be too over to even consider going to Philly. And
real
that's
shame.
what you call
a
well executed game plan.
very nice. Very nicely done.
Yeah,
very nicely done.
I would have paid. I would have loved to see a hungover Banks in the depths of Philly.
Live, and I'm just like in there, like
next to what she said, being like easy.
I would actually though, like I would fully embrace the Green Bay Packers energy. Honestly, I'm closer to going to do it than I would be sober. Like I am not sober right now. I think that's clear.
I would say so. I don't think anybody was questioning your sobriety.
Hey, I appreciate you acknowledging what I've already very much owned up to. I would go up to Philly tomorrow. I would do it.
You have it. Clip it. We got to clip it. We'll send it to her in the morning.
Yeah, no.
Were you thinking about going?
So much cost. I'm not saying I would drop a whole bunch of beans to do it, but
for context for the listeners, your lovely fiance is a Packers fan. This is why we were talking about this.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I really like the Packers as a weapon in the NFC, but against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, not great. But I am in the position mentally right now where I would go into the barn. If there was a right cost for me to go into the barn with her or arm in arm,
Okay.
I love that. I love that mentality.
I would think about it.
Appreciate this comment from our friend Nut Nasty. We are happy to be back together here on this show.
I would consider doing it, but I don't think she understands the context of a lot of football things. She kind of just shows up on Sunday, and it's like, "Go Packers!" And it's like, yeah, you guys are down by 3 touchdowns because the Lions are really good. And then we just kind of handle that. So
yeah. So there you go. So Banks is considering going to Philly tomorrow potentially. Jimmy Carter is the Nick Cantor medley. Maryland. What a win for Jimmy. R.I.P. to Jimmy.
Jimmy.
RDT, do you have a Nick Cantor medley you want to throw out there?
I was just happy to see Ray Lewis get involved. It's I was really, really happy that he was able to get his little 5 minutes there. That's just
couldn't believe that they did the whole thing and he wasn't involved. And then what do you know? What do you know?
Crazy that he came out of nowhere and just like, Terrell Suggs is going to be the Raven of the game.
It was really funny for me to explain to Lexi who that was and what that meant. Because that was a real thing that happened. I explained to her why that was important, and I got maybe 3/5 of the way of explaining it to her, and I was like, I can't explain it to you. You're done. Like, we're just cooked.
I was just happy to see him, get his shine. You don't really see him in front of the camera too much.
Really? Yeah. No.
He did his video. He did show the X52 sign, which he's now done like 3 times. Which
that's the thing. It's like we know
he does that every time.
It may just be the same video.
I had a Packers fan last night here in the Midwest call out Ray for being a murderer. I said, just obstructed justice. There you go. We're moving on.
Do you need some ammo? Like, should we talk offline on how to handle that? I feel like there should be a manual for the Baltimore fans.
My normal line is just to go, haven't we all obstructed justice? And you just kind of
I love that.
Who has it?
People don't know what to say to that most of the time. So that's how I handled it a couple times.
Guys can't have fun no more. Hit them with one of those, like,
yeah, people in Atlanta. Yeah, that's kind of how I've gone about it. But have not a lot of Ravens fans out here. Slapped hands with one guy walking out of the bar. It was a lovely moment. It was a lovely moment. No Steelers fans, which was shocking in this place I was.
Where'd you watch the game, T?
Gracie O'Malley's, where you gave me the gift card. So that's
I'm glad you did. Like I spent a lot of time thinking about the Ravens bar, like that exists over there.
Somebody early in the comments, let's see if I can find it, called out the Ravens bar. I need to go there at some point. I've not gone yet. So
I was torn between making a happy experience for you at one or the other, and then I just kind of was like, "Hey, you idiot! You're gonna create a happy experience either way. Like what are we stressing about?"
Yeah. So, fellas, do you have any more ground to cover? Do you have any more drink to go through? Do you need us to keep talking here, Banks, to keep you going through your drinks?
I mean, I could chat my ass off here. I got a Modelo.
Well, what do you have? What do you have in the hopper? What do you want to talk about?
I got Modelo. I got a little High Noon hanging out here, ready to rip.
Any other thoughts from the game? Any other thoughts? Somebody earlier announced for my announcer thoughts. I was at a bar. They did have the audio on. I didn't really hear it. Like, it was hard to make out a ton of it. I will say I don't normally love Michaels and Herb Street. I think they're just kind of out there winging it. Their chemistry isn't.
They were winging it for sure tonight. Yeah. I know that I walked in and came back out to the concourse at a certain point in the stadium, and it was like, oh, this is a game. I think it was 7-0 and 14-0 was very inevitable. And I looked up at the scoreboard or the backboard and saw that those were the two announcing the game. And I was like, yeah, okay. This is the perfect game for Al Michaels to just kind of hang out and just,
he was bad. He was just, and Herb Street is I don't know. He's really sour on a lot of people.
On the college games, he sounds like he wants to be there, and on the NFL games, he doesn't totally sound like he wants to be there.
Yes.
I'm getting a check. I'm good at this. I'm doing my thing, and I'm out of here.
Getting on the plane.
We put up the video of all the travel that I do and show you the dog.
And guess what? My dog's gonna be right here with me. I don't know if you guys know that.
What would you say to the idea that
all-time situations?
What would you say the idea that the NFL is throwing him on those kinds of games, though?
What do you mean?
Thursday nights aren't very good.
But Amazon is paying him millions of dollars to be on those games. To lend them credibility.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like trying to think my way between the two, but the guy's got it made. He's doing, why? I don't know. I don't know why he wants more than what he's got. Like the game that he's playing, like the college football game, and you think about how there's so many games that are like I'm not games like hosts. Who's the guy that called the Rose Bowl so many years? And he's like,
Brent Musburger?
Keith Jackson. Brent Musburger is I know Brent Musburger, but Keith
Jackson. Keith Jackson.
Yeah, Keith Jackson. Like, there's so many legendary names that have done so many calls and done all those things. It's it almost feels greedy for him to extend beyond what he's done. And Herb Street's amazing. But I don't know.
You got to learn to say no to something. Like, it's okay to not do everything. Like, you can.
Yeah. Just say no, Kirk. Just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah. That's kind of my thought on it.
Tough week for him with the saying his son is the one that does all the tweeting for him. I mean,
again, he's weird. He's turned like
had a weird couple months.
Yeah. His last calendar year has been very, very strange, I feel like.
He got dragged for all the SEC takes with the college football playoffs, which he continues to look like a clown for because now it's Ohio State. But his school, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Yeah. So who are you rooting for in Ohio State, Notre Dame, Banks?
Notre Dame.
Wow. There you go.
I like Freeman.
I grew up in a big time Notre Dame family.
That's true. We've talked about that before.
I've totally underplayed the level of my Notre Dame family influence, and I got my reasons that I pushed against it for a lot of years, but
it's coming back to roost.
Yeah, honestly, it's tough.
There you have it.
The game should be good.
Is Jimbo's a big Notre Dame guy?
Oh, huge.
Really?
Huge.
There you go.
My mom's side is like everyone went to school there but my mother, but like, no. My grandparents went, like, it's big time.
We'll have to get you out here for a Notre Dame game here in the Midwest. A short drive from Chicago.
It's there. Yeah. No, I spent actually quite a bit of time on campus there. It's
That's right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, nah.
There you go.
Nah. That's the take right there. Nah.
That's the take.
Ohio State clearly a wagon. Can't believe that Michigan whooped that ass, but at the same time they own that ass. Blah. What are you gonna say?
You're gonna say blah.
All I can say.
Blah. That's all you can say.
Yeah. That's what you said.
Rudy was offside, says Terp Don.
Rudy was offsides. He may have been, may not have been, but
can't sum it up any better than that.
Blah. And it may have been, may not have been.
may not have been. I think at the 53-minute mark, that may be where we bring it to a close here, fellas. Rudy may or may not have been offside. I think that's
someone was eagerly waiting for like a run pass breakdown, and that's what they end this podcast with.
That's what they end up. But we did about 20 minutes of Ravens Steelers and 35 of a variety of other topics. But let me tell you something. That is the OG3 52 podcast.
Yeah.
Now you see why we needed to add Jake and Spenny.
Yeah, that's why we brought in Jake and Spenny to actually break down the teams. I will say as we roll, hopefully the Ravens continue to play for a few more weeks, but the Orioles is percolating. RDT is working on things in the background from an Orioles standpoint. I have now reappeared and I'm rolling my way back into the pod. So stay tuned for Orioles coverage when Ravens season hopefully comes to an end with a Super Bowl championship. And Banks, you are along for the ride for it all, baby.
Yeah, I'm honestly just so fired up to just see your beautiful face and get you. I don't get much of anything from you here.
Yep.
In my life whatsoever. So
I know we see each other so much less. Sad.
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, but now look at us coming back together in front of the public.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And to do it post Jimmy Carter's tragic passing.
By the way, national anthem much better this week than last week.
Really good anthem. Really good anthem. That was awesome. Baltimore native, right?
Spenny rode the bus with her. He said I used to ride the middle.
Yeah. He was.
We got to get him on air about that.
Spenny and I were walking. We walked in the stadium together. Like we were like, how many beers can we consume in this little 100-yard walk? The line seems a little longer, so that seems to opportunize us for drink more beers. And he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I rode the bus with this girl." And then she disappeared for a while. She went to Broadway, and hey, here's another Coors Light here, and then we just So he's
clearly
a good resource for the whole thing.
I want to hear his opinion. I want to hear the story. That sounds.
Yeah,
she was awesome. She was fantastic. That was
doesn't seem
really
like it's going to be explosive story. The violinist. I don't think you guys were in. Yeah,
no. Lindsey Sterling, I think, performed. Correct.
Yeah, that was electric.
How was All Time Low?
Also electric, but we've seen that before, as you would expect. Yeah, they delivered.
Always do, baby.
They're good. They're very,
well,
very
Lindsey
good.
Sterling, They did it much in the same way of Ray Lewis coming out, but it was like mid first quarter, and she came out and just like doing a whole violinist solo and everything. It was very electric with the stadium with the lighting and everything. It's just so next level. Very cool.
They do have to cut it out with the drones. Like Baltimore, the city that drones. We get it.
Yeah, somebody sniped it.
Enough of that.
You think those are the Jersey drones, Eric?
Where'd they go? What happened to those? Remember when that was a thing?
That would have been a Maryland drone of the week if we had pods during that. And then Larry Hogan saw fake drones.
Yeah, like remember that story?
Yeah.
Saying, connect the dots.
Here you go. Banks grabbing for water here.
Give your sign off and see if he can beat it. If he can chug through the sign off.
What's the flavor? Watermelon?
Ooh. Why did you have the Modelo and the High Noon on tap here? Like,
I was drinking Modelo, and then after I finished the Modelo, I took a sip of water. That's totally reasonable. And then
were they just sitting there? Were they just sitting on your desk?
You just had both of them on your desk?
Yeah.
And that was like you brought them over before the pod?
That's correct.
I love that.
I thought they were like wounded soldiers from like an earlier
pre. If you listen. If we did this podcast last week, it would have been an all-time electric podcast. Jimbo and I, after all right, let's just back up a minute. This was a game where you had to sweat it out a little bit, and it's a playoff game and all that stuff. But like the week before was a little bit of a coronation kind of game. Like you knew you were going to beat the Browns and, whatever. Jimbo and I tied one on, man. Absolutely tied one on. Like if we came on to the podcast, he would have been past me Bevs and vice versa. And we got stuff in the fridge that I didn't even know we had in the house. But I got watermelon High Noon that's somehow left over because we didn't drink that because whatever. All right. It's all dented up. I don't know why. I feel like we scooped it up off the ground of the tailgate last week. And we this is kind of free beverages. Yeah. Like if people are just going to leave them, then we're just going to take them home. And I think that ended up in our fridge and now they're in my hand.
It's another good saying. If someone's going to leave them,
you took the Nooners off.
We're going to take them home.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know, but here we are.
There's no doubt that here we absolutely are. That no one has commented. No one has commented about 5 minutes. We may be podcasting to ourselves.
I can do this all night though. I left Lexi back at Mate Beer, and she might be coming back home. She might not. I don't know. I don't know.
I would hope she comes back. Oh, Mark Jackson. He's still. Mark.
I hope so too.
Thank you, Mark.
I hope so too. But what I'm saying is, I know she's not back yet, and I could be here all night.
She is not back yet.
I could chat with the boys. We could get holler. But the other thing is, from what I know, the Cole Jacksons and Spinnies and Jakes, they're out there. They're out there, and they're not far away. And they're
not far away.
I think some of them boys might need Jesus.
Oh my gosh. They are out there. If you want to find Banks, Jake, and Cole, you can find them. They are somewhere in South Baltimore at a bar. So you can scout them out if you want to find them. I mean, people are still in with us. People are still just enjoying the vibes. Charlie Gibson really wants to know the line if we play the Bills. What do you got, Banks? What do you got on the Bills-Ravens line real quick? Then we can go back to
there's look at lines out there, and it's Bills like -1, -1.5.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, the home team. It's a fuck you line. It's a bullshit line. Yeah. They're even. The teams are so even. I'm gonna stop short of calling that game Super Bowl, but it's.
Do you think that will be the hardest game the Ravens have to win to win the Super Bowl? Do you think that's a tougher game than at Kansas City?
Yes.
There you go.
I think so.
I don't respect.
RDT shakes his head as well.
It's the craziest thing in the world. I don't respect the Chiefs. I don't. You're correct. I respect you, Killicam. You come correct. But that's fine.
They
stand by it.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any questioning that opinion about your current state.
No, there's no question about my current, is what it is. I stand by it. No, I'm not afraid of anybody.
Any team or anybody in general across the spectrum?
Starting five of people you're afraid of.
Any team across the spectrum. You get me? Like, I feel like you're suggesting some physical situations.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking you.
No, I'm a big pussy. I would never get me into a physical altercation, and I'm ducking out. I'm done.
That's okay. I think. Look. We preach love, not war.
Love is love, baby.
We're a pro.
Lovers, not fighters.
Yeah, we're a pro.
I will show
we're trying to bring people together like we've been brought together tonight, which has been absolutely tremendous.
Yeah. That's correct. No, I think you have me pegged absolutely correct. I will throw hands for the boys, but I will not. I'm not one to yeah, exactly right.
Do you have any take on the twisted tea consumption tonight? Did you have any?
I had 0 twisted teas, but I feel like when the twisted tea consumption necessity elevates itself to a point where it's like, hey, it's twisted tea time, I'm gonna be game, but Jesus Christ. I mean, there's not twisted tea time. Come on. It's just not.
It's not.
I mean, hey, a little twisted tea here and there never hurt anybody, but to just unload the clip on it.
If you unload the clip on it, you're going to be in a bad spot, I think.
I'd be curious to hear if anyone who unloaded the clip on it, how they're going to feel tomorrow, or just in general, the idea of unloading the clip on wildcard weekend. That's what I'm saying.
Do it for the divisional round.
Like a lot of ball game left.
Tons of ball game left. Tons of. I mean, we could do this at home next weekend. I mean, if the Broncos.
I am not expecting to do it next weekend at home at all, but I'm not at all. But I'm going to be there either way. I'm going to Buffalo. I'm going to fuck those dudes up in terms of, hey, I'm not going to fuck anybody up.
You're probably not going to fuck anybody up. Oh my goodness!
But I'm gonna.
Are you planning on going to Buffalo?
I'm gonna go to Buffalo.
Spenny, you and Spenny were talking about this. Is this actually gonna happen?
I think Jake said he's going too, right?
Jake's gonna go.
Yeah, no, my boss, and you could call him my mentor. He's a Buffalo guy. He grew up in Buffalo. His parents live like half hour from the stadium. Like, we're going. Like, provided that Buffalo does their thing. He is so fired up after, quote unquote, like bring me along and quote unquote mentoring me for the last year and a half and observing my antics where I do the shit that I do. He's so excited to potentially bring me into the pit. And like, we're going. Like, this has been waiting to happen the whole time. Yeah. That's correct. I've been doing, I don't know, maybe a decent job of preserving it. Yeah, no. What am I talking about? We're gonna have a time.
I'm excited for that. I can't wait to have whatever instant analysis comes out of that trip.
Yeah. That'll be something.
We're gonna fuck them up. I feel so good about it. I seriously did.
You're riding high. People have to be thrilled to hear you're riding this high right now.
We are so much better than the Buffalo Bills.
There you have it.
So much better.
There's gonna be some good clips coming out of this one.
There are. There's so many. There's so many.
35-10.
Is that prediction subject to change, or you're going to lock that in? Well, the Bills aren't even in the game.
No, that's what they won.
Was when the Buffalo Bills played the Baltimore Ravens.
Is that what the first score is? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no.
That did not.
Yeah, that was a game in which Josh Allen got pulled.
Yikes.
Yeah. I'm done with the MVP conversation. Because that's already been done. But yeah. Let's just not think about those kinds of things and let the football games play out tomorrow.
Yep. Let's let it all. This is the best part about playing a Saturday game. You get to sit back, watch the games on Sunday. No stress.
I love the exposed brick behind you, bud. That's almost like Cream City brick, which is yeah. That's like a Midwestern, like it's a little bit more of a Chicago style.
Yeah. Gives me some Baltimore feels here.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Can't wait for everyone to come out. Orioles Cubs out here at Wrigley Field.
I've been trying to figure out the little puzzle piece because it's,
right near your wedding.
A week and a half before, like I can't fathom an idea that I'm not at Wrigley Field for the Orioles. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's either at Wrigley Field for the Orioles or in Baltimore for the Savannah Bananas at Camden Yards that weekend. So
really,
get me out of town.
I had coworkers bring that up this week. Like, oh my God, like apparently the Savannah Bananas are going to us, like whatever. And they're all also coworkers that I've invited to my wedding. And I'm like, it's not the same weekend, right? So it's like whatever. But I kind of told them, like, if you go to the Savannah Bananas, like, you can fucking forget about our friendship and you can fucking fuck off. Like, I'll tell you can.
I don't know what impression
we're done.
Yeah.
Might as well the Savannah Bananas show up to my wedding and do their fucking tomfoolery.
The Savannah Bananas showing up at your wedding?
Yeah.
I wonder how expensive that would be.
That would be so much money.
Yeah.
Savannah Bananas can eat my ass.
All right, that has to be the title of the episode.
Yeah, no,
Ravens win a playoff game. Savannah.
There are people like canceling their weekend plans and working their entire summers around the idea that the Savannah Bananas are coming to town. Like, oh my God! Like, I cannot think of a bunch of fucking loser activity than just thinking about the Savannah Bananas.
There you have it. I mean, you might have just ended the Savannah Bananas as they are. You're not planning on going to the Savannah Bananas, Eric? You're not in Savannah?
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, that's the same weekend. So I'm hoping to be in Chicago.
Well,
like,
I would love
about like coming out.
I'll see at Wrigley. Like, let's just commit to the idea.
We should just buy like 30 tickets.
Yeah, Wrigley Field.
Have you been there, Eric?
Nope.
Ooh.
Never?
It's
Oh
sick.
my God.
It's cool.
It is the best.
I know.
It is.
That's why it lined up perfectly this year. So
the whole thing is awesome.
I cannot express, like, I don't want anyone to build a whole Wrigley blah, 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 about going to Wrigley Field. I did it solo on a little solo weekend, and I just like had a ticket, and I was like, I'm gonna buy a beer. I'm gonna go sit in the blah blah blah, like in the bleachers, and I'm just gonna watch a baseball game. And like just the simplicity, but I'm going to the Wrigley bleachers, like, and then it was a summer Friday. It was like the sun was beating down. It was honestly like it was the purest day of my life. I cannot like express to you how like beautiful
the colors were, how the sounds and everything.
Oh my God. Like it was honestly
I can smell
like,
colors, I can feel sounds.
The simplicity of that day, and like it was like, oh, batting practice, just whatever. Like it was you can't find a better summer afternoon than the Wrigley bleachers. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Hopefully I'll be there. That's what I need.
It would be great. It would be great to see everybody there. I would firmly enjoy that. But RDT, the environment around the building is sick. It's very, very fun.
Yeah.
It's very, very
That's also very accurate. Yeah.
It is worth the trip. It is worth the trip. So hopefully we see everybody out there. Any final thoughts here, fellas? We've gone somehow an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, the Steelers are a joke.
I don't know what this means, but it sums up. It's about sums up.
I appreciate you, Mr. Butterworth.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Butterworth. It was quite the journey, Ben. It was quite the journey. It's one of the more. It's. I don't even know how to sum up this journey that we've done.
I got nothing
for over an hour. All I'll say is I can't. Banks, to not get an answer from any of those guys from your FaceTime, very sad.
Oh,
none of them can answer. Let's try one more time. Let's try one more time, and then we'll get out of here. RDT was going to go to bed, and he's been up here for an hour and 50.
I got out of bed to do this. It's for the fans, for the people.
Yeah.
We'll see what we got. Also, by the way,
the bars are closing in Baltimore in about 10 minutes too.
I've been raw dogging this podcast since you let me on. It's not my headset that I've been coming through. It's just through the laptop audio.
You sounded great.
Yeah, it sounds good. That's disappointing.
This is
I'll leave them all.
Jake and Cole Jackson. My friends. So I thought.
Oh my God! What a betrayal!
Tough look for them.
Yeah, can't just pick up the phone and hop on for 5 seconds. Oh, there. Oh,
no, it went dead.
That's terrible. Well, I would assume at some point this week, Spenny and Jake will break down the pot. We'll break down the Steelers Ravens. There'll be a preview for Ravens versus whoever they end up playing, Bills, Texans, whatever that will be.
The thing about it is they're still out there, and they're out at the bar, so maybe I should go track them down.
You're going to have to hop off here quickly if you're going to get there by.
But also, my fiance is not home either. I don't know.
You may want to check on her first. I think that would be your first.
My fiance is not. She has not made home yet, so she could be at the bar with any of them.
She absolutely could. She absolutely could.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. I don't have anything to cheers.
I got nothing.
I have next to me at some point. What do I have over here? I have this stocking. There you go.
Seriously, man, I miss you, T.
I miss you too. Miss doing this. We'll have to get this back going again.
Yeah. By the way, we
did this for 2.5 years.
We did a whole neighborhood wander, thinking at 4:30 we were going to wander in a bar and have a table, which I didn't expect that was going to be a thing. But the likes of Mike, Chase, Anthony, and the others,
I think Pops was around with Chase.
Hair of the Dog delivered. Shout out Hair of the Dog. So I just want to make sure to shout out to Hair of the Dog. And the service was very good from Hair of the Dog.
Good stuff, Hair of the Dog.
So just want to make sure that's said.
That's a bar we haven't shouted out many times on this over the years. Hair of the Dogs is a very solid bar. 2 Golden Tea machines in there.
They did a very good job today. I had a buffalo chicken quesadilla that was very good. And curly fries.
Did you get a lot of H?
I did make my way to a lot of H, and I got my money's worth there.
Very nice. Very nice. Shout out to Hair of the Dog. Shout out to our friends. Thanks. Shout out to you, Eric, for hopping on here for almost an hour and a half. Very appreciated. And yep, there it is. And we'll have to do this again sometime. Follow the podcast at XW2 Podcast on all your social media platforms, at Barstool Bangs, at EDITTI22. I haven't done that in a while. At Taylor Schmite 10, at Jake Luke, at Ravens 4 Dummies, the number 4 between Ravens and Dummies. Those guys will be back to, I'm sure, review some of this game, talk about their feelings. Was Jake there? Was Jake at the game?
Think so.
Yep, that's the game. I know Spenny was at the game. Those guys will chat. They'll preview
ass kicking
the Ravens divisional game this week, and then we'll be back next week. Who the hell knows? We'll be on the incident analysis next week. I mean, this could be Eric. You and I may be running this puppy back based on what these guys go to Buffalo.
It could be.
Orioles coverage coming. It's coming. We're into 2025 off seasons. Orioles have made some moves the last week or so, beefed up the bullpen. Eric's going to continue to put pressure on them on Twitter to make more signings. They're getting let me tell you something. Our friends at the Orioles, and I will finish on this. Their honeymoon on social media is over.
Oh, yeah.
Every post I feel bad for them. Every post is getting roasted. How about you sign somebody instead of giving Mr. Splash more room? I feel bad. It sucks. It's a bad place to be in. Honeymoon period is over. And hopefully the Orioles could do some things. But it's Ravens season. We hopefully got a few more weeks to go. Banks, appreciate you popping on and providing some world-class entertainment. Eric, thank you to you as well. The listeners, appreciate you taking this journey. I think this sums it up. Thank you, Thor. We're also dead. Yeah. We're also dead, bro.
Yeah.
We're also dead, bro. We'll see you next time on the XW2
podcast. Smoke those clowns. Like, seriously, like, I don't know. Like, we're so far removed